Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A320 pilot, and in today's video let's talk about another common flight simmer's mistake. The one we want to talk about in this video is activating approach phase, only to then go selected speed and try to keep your speed where it is. So the following is something that I see happening quite a bit in different flight simulation YouTube videos. People first go selected speed, and then they go down and activate the approach phase. Now, what you're doing with this is you are basically reversing your immediate action over here of activating approach phase, which means reducing the airspeed, while at the same time then going selected in order to keep it up. Now, there is not really any reason to do that in the real aircraft, as you are not going to gain any benefit from it. Quite the opposite instead. Normally, Airbus recommends to stay on selected modes and then to stay on managed modes and keep flying in those for as long as possible unless an ATC speed intervention is given. To give you a little example of what I mean, let's just about exit the approach mode once again. We can do that by reinserting a cruise level, and now we are out of approach phase. As you can see, the active mode is now once again the cruise mode. I'm going to initiate descent now to show you a couple of situations on how it should be done versus how many flight simmers do it. So, when you're starting your normal descent, like we are doing right now for an RNAV approach 3-4 right into Hurghada Airport, then the Airbus is going to keep 250 knots. Now, at the moment, there is one situation in which I am rather regularly using selected mode, but that is hopefully going to be fixed very soon by Phoenix, and that is the drag of the airplane in the descent. So currently the A320 has a little bit too much drag, so for that reason you will see your speed normally declining and going down to the lower limit of the acceptable speed range that we've got down here, in our case 230 knots. Now, that can be an acceptable reason to go selected speed and keep it at 250, as with selected speed the Airbus is going to target the precise speed that you have entered, versus with managed speed where it targets a certain speed range and accepts the deviation in order to keep the engines in idle thrust during the descent. Now, many simmers, nonetheless, just go selected speed and then activate the approach phase so that they can later just press the speed knob again in order to reduce speed. The problem with that is, as we can see coming up right now, when you've got any speed constraints along your arrival, you are no longer going to be automatically abiding them, and the vertical profile calculation may not necessarily match your actual flight path anymore, because the vertical profile is calculated taking into account idle thrust, but when you are going selected speed, then your aircraft is automatically going to add thrust as it sees fit, and thereby you might get above your target energy profile by going selected with an active approach phase rather than staying in fully managed. Now, right now, we are passing a beam at 210 knot restriction. You can see green dot speed is somewhere around 217, 218. Now, officially, of course, you're going to fly 210 knots. Unofficially, however, you can maintain your speed within plus 10, minus 5 knots versus speed constraints, as that is basically the accuracy within which air traffic control expects you to fly. However, take into consideration that since we have passed a speed restriction, which would have demanded flap extension, we are now descending on a little bit tighter schedule, and the airplane may not have the drag that it requires for its vertical profile calculation, seeing that the vertical profile assumes the drag of the flaps to be extended. Now, in that case, you might just about have to use the speed brakes, as I am doing right now. Alright, so that is basically our topic for the day. Try to stay in managed speed for as long as possible and only use selected speed when it actually does make sense according to the profile that you actually need to fly. In other words, going by basic Airbus philosophy, the FCU is only used for short-term changes in the flight plan, and not for long-term changes, for which you would always use your MCDU. Now, short-term changes in this case basically means as much as dialing in a speed constraint that ATC has given you, but not activating approach phase, and then on the long term flying with selected speed until you eventually start reducing towards your final approach speed. Alright, that's it for the video for today. Thank you very much for watching. I do surely hope that you liked this one. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to your input and your take on this one, and in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. If you did indeed like the video, be sure to leave a like in YouTube as well, as it does help with the algorithms. And if you're up for more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and finally, if you really like what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again on the next one.